So, hello everyone. Welcome to the AP exam preparation session. Um, we'll get started today with our agenda. So, Justin, maybe you want to go over the agenda?
Yeah, so first of all, we're gonna go over how AP exams are weighted, how you should plan out your time and schedule for it, the resources you have, some important tips and tricks that can help you along the way, some practice tests and books as well, and we'll end it up with the Q&A. So our first topic of today, weighted AP exams in your application. So so normally, although some colleges see your weighted GPA on your transcript, they will most likely recalculate according to how they want all of their freshman applicants GPAs to be. So this is so that there's no discrepancy amongst all the applicants because as they're all coming from different high schools, they all have their different GPA standards and weights. And then something noted to add is whether you should prioritize your grades over the APs or not. So sorry. So when choosing whether to take an AP in class in high school, so you should think about a multitude of factors like the student's goal, academic abilities, and future plans. There's no real answer to whether having an A in an AP class, a B in an AP class, or honors weighted class. It really depends on the student. And it's also important to consider the level of difficulty for each class, as it can impact your grades and overall your GPA. And it's important to also remember once again that each student has their own academic abilities and should not take this decision lightly.
Yeah. So now I can talk more about difficulty of AP tests in general. So after doing a little bit of research, we actually came up with this graph here, um, where it's listed the top 10 hardest AP classes. Um, This is depending on, like it says up here, difficulty rating and passing rate. So the hardest was Physics C, AP Physics C. Generally, it is one of the more difficult AP courses because there's a lot of different formulas involved. There's two different units involved with electricity and then magnetism and all that. So here it says a pass rate, which is 69%. Then there was AP English Literature. AP Lit is also a very hard AP exams. So its pass rate was 78%. Going down the list, it's AP Physics C, followed by AP Chemistry, then AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2. AP European History is surprisingly pretty high up on there on that list with a pass rate of 59%, followed by AP Biology, AP Music Theory, and then AP World History. Um, some notable mentions that are not on this list are AP English Language and Composition. There's also AP biology on here, but AP US History is also decently difficult as well. Keep in mind that this is based off of pass rate and based off of some students that we surveyed and their ideas. So talking about AP course ranks and which was the hardest and the easiest, uh, there's a few factors you want to consider. You want to consider about the time it takes for that course, in the sense that does it require a lot of time outside of school where you have to put in time for maybe it's notes, maybe it's other projects or homework or whatever, or is it fairly easy in terms of like the workload? And the second thing is difficulty of the test. How hard is this test? How many sections does it have? What do I need to prepare for the AP exam? And third thing is how's the teacher there? Um, and so that's one thing. Give me 1 second. Um, Anyways, I'm so sorry about that. Second thing is you want to talk about whether or not you can cope up with that class. So for example, I'll just give an example. This is nowhere. anything related, but like AP US history, you have projects, you have notes, you have tests, you have mini worksheets, right? So you have all these different workloads outside of school. This is not in school, this is outside of school. You have to think about, can you spend that much time outside of school? And then can you put the same effort in school to get that A or maintain that A, right? So here's a list of easiest, less time consuming in terms of workload, and the hardest. And again, the easiest to self-study, hardest to self-study. AP psychology being one of the less time consuming and one of the easiest. That being in mind depends also on the teacher. Some of the teachers at some schools have very, very tight like notes for AP psychology. AP Comp Sci is also there. So AP Comp Sci is AP Computer Science Principles. And if you go up that list, it's AP Literature, AP Physics C, AP Chemistry, AP World History. All the histories have more time or require more time because it's just notes and projects and all that. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your AP classes. Now let's talk about resources to help with the AP exam preparation. So starting off, the 2023 AP exam will be administered within schools across California. So over 2 weeks, it'll be from May 1st all the way till May 12th. Between that time period, May 1st to May 12th time period. So even though you're taking AP exams, I'm sure there's still some work that AP classes are providing you. So try to at least dedicate 15 to 30 minutes per day from your regular coursework to study for these exams if you have school. If you are having spring break next week, or if you're having spring break currently, this is the right time to just start working, doing tests, doing all the preparations for the AP exam. And again, it depends on the course, depending on the workload you have, depending on what you need to study for. So also consider if you're self-studying a course or if you're taking a school course. If you're self-studying, you might not have that homework, you might not have that projects or whatever the school offers, but you'll still have to take the exam, right? In the end, there might be less time, but it might also be less time to prepare, um, based on the teacher's private knowledge and whatever. So keep that in mind as well. So sure, you want to go from here?
All right. So now talking about content, we can take AP Computer Science A as an example, just to begin. So a good place to look is the College Board website. They have a page for each AP class. Right now we're just looking at Computer Science A, but it'll tell you the exam date, the course prerequisites, or the recommended prerequisites, and the course content. It'll also tell you the weight of each section on the exam. So there's an example on the next slide, which is like, for example, Unit 1, which says primitive types. It tells you all the topics. And then it tells you the weight of this unit on the exam. So it's like 5% of the exam score, 2.5 to 5%. Now going back to the previous slide, we have also like details about the exam's components. So that'll give you like the breakdown of how many questions are FRQ, how many questions are MCQ, and how much each is weighted. So like for a computer science A, there's one multiple choice question, one multiple choice section, and one free response section, and both are 50% of the score. Then we can also look at past exams. So the website also has like past exam questions, all the answers to those questions, and the scoring guide. So it's a pretty good resource. And finally, College Board has something called AP Classroom, which your teacher should give you access to once you enroll in the course. And once you join, there's a lot of resources such as daily informational videos about each unit and subunit. And there's progress check quizzes and much more. Apart from that, you can also buy test books such as Barron's or Princeton Review. All right, now we're going to be talking about what you should prioritize. So rather than having an A in a class over a 5 in an AP exam, so having an A in a class is extremely beneficial. It shows that you're able to handle a college level course, and it increases your GPA because it is a weighted class. Also, it shows that throughout the course, you were able to maintain the grade So it's much more impactful than just studying for the AP test and getting a 5, because it shows how you are consistently good in the course. And then we're going to be talking about how to prepare. So like we mentioned before, there's practice tests. You can use your notes in the ones you're taking in class if you did end up signing up for the class also. There's a bunch of guides online, and you can buy books like prep books, which have their own tests that you can practice with. Then noting important events for history. So like there's a few landmark events for US history or any history in general that if you know, you should like basically get those down. You should have those in your memory. And then understanding the logic for math, chemistry, and physics is really beneficial, because once you know the logic, like the questions become pretty easy, or they become much easier. Then AP Classroom, as we mentioned before, it has a lot of good resources. You can have daily videos, and there's a bunch of progress check quizzes and everything. And then the practices. So online, there's past papers of the AP tests. So like past AP tests, all the answers for FRQs and the scoring guidelines. So those are all really good things you should look out for. All right. So now we want to recruit more people for the DreamBig team. And if you want to be a volunteer, the sign up is on this slide. The main responsibilities will be helping plan sessions, coming up with ideas, spreading the word about DreamBig, and answering questions in the chat. This is a really competitive spot right now, so we're encouraging to sign up for interviews, and the sooner you do it, the better chance you have. So also you should check out our YouTube channel for more resources. We have all of the session recordings. This session right now will be uploaded sometime this week, and we'll have our next session, which is all about Yale University and Purdue. We're going to be talking about seniors who got in. We're going to be talking about their high school and college experience, and basically, yeah, be sure to join next week.
All right, yeah, we can transition into the Q&A. But before